This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Gareth A Davies, all the way from Cyprus. I'm glad you got there safe and sound. What a weekend. Riyadh season's first event in the UK, and it was spectacular, Gareth. How would you sum it
It
up?
was amazing. It was an incredible spectacle. It was one of the most dramatic heavyweight fights we've ever seen in the UK as well. Obviously, it was a drubbing in the end for Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dynamite Dubois. The whole event was amazing. You know yourself. We worked from the morning to the night for 6 days in a row, um, and it was fantastic. I think the delivery of it all, the iconic venues from Trafalgar Square to Leicester Square, Trafalgar Square with Nelson's column and Big Ben in the background, and Guildhall with its historicity going back to 1411, and the movie premiere night at Leicester Square. I mean, I barely saw you. I mean, I was working a lot for Talksport and the Telegraph during the week, but I barely saw you because we were literally non-stop. And the night itself at Wembley, as we hear now, 98,000. The card really delivered. Everything delivered, really. And obviously, you know, 48 hours later, we're all still talking about it. It's very fresh in our mind. The optics, the noise, the scents, the smells, the fireworks. And in the final denouement, the big, heavy punches of the dangerous dynamite Dubois.
Everyone beforehand was talking about the amount of shots that Daniel shipped against Hrgovic and whether he could take those right hands from Anthony Joshua, but no one really said, "Oh, do you think Anthony can take shots from Daniel Dubois?" And that was really the story of the fight, Gareth, from the first round.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think most people went for Anthony Joshua, probably 95%. Obviously, the supporters of Daniel Dubois went for him, but I don't think people didn't say, but Daniel is still very dangerous because of his heavy artillery. Um, but Joshua fluffed his lines, frankly, in the first round. He did not get his lines out. He did not get his strategy out there. He did not look he did not look ready for Daniel's sharpness and jab and punch combinations. He didn't deflect. He didn't parry. Clearly, he wanted to throw the right hand over Dubois' jab. He threw the uppercut from too far away, and once he was felled in that first round, hands down, moving along the ropes, could have parried, and Daniel took his moment. Once he was hurt in that first round for 9 minutes, I mean, it was a torrid 13 minutes for him anyway, the whole fight. But for 9 minutes, he was literally in survival mode. You look at the punch stats, they're enormously in favour of Daniel. 49 power punches landed by Daniel. I think 96 thrown, 45, 49 landed. Joshua landed 14 power punches in there. And he landed five of them in the first minute of the fifth round. So as that great old cliched saying goes, we heard Mike Tyson say it and many others afterwards, once you get punched in the face, there's no game plan in your mind. It changes everything. And that's what happened in that first round. And that's why I say he fluffed his lines in that first round, because something wasn't right early on. Something wasn't right for Anthony Joshua, but it was very right for Daniel Dubois. I noticed when he came in, he was the champion. Why did he have to come in first? Did you see the beads of sweat on him, how warmed up he was to come out? And it
Mm.
was already cool by that time. They did a really clever job of keeping him very, very warm because he waited 13 minutes before they went into action in that ring with the two anthems, Joshua's walk. Joshua didn't hold it up too long, but he was ready. Daniel Dubois, we said it all week. I wrote both sides all week. This was the moment that Daniel Dubois had to start his own takeover of the division at the age of 27. A massive scalp in Anthony Joshua, more than the belt, frankly. That performance was more than the belt. And on the other hand, what Anthony Joshua could have done, if he'd done a similar thing to Dubois, stepping into the breach and people saying, wow, this guy is going to be a handful for Tyson Fury when they meet, stepping into that breach that Tyson's left with Usyk as the number one at the moment, Alexander Usyk as the number one. But one man fell and one man rose, and it was always going to be an explosive duel. Daniel won the duel. People were saying going into it, the first one that lands could be the guy that wins the fight.
Turned out to be the case.
Do you agree with some of that, or all of that, or
Agree with
none of
all,
that?
agree with all of it, Gareth. Spot on, I'd say. Uh, Look, people did give Daniel a chance for sure, but what was very impressive about that, regardless of what you want to say of Anthony's performance, Daniel was relentless. He was smarter. He was quicker. He was stronger. He just meant business. That was
He
all.
was a young mauling lion in there. That's how I saw him. And he was patient as well. He was patient in that second round as Anthony Joshua struggled and gave everything he had. Let's give him a bit of credit for staying in the fight. He gave everything he had to stay in that fight, hold on to Dubois, nullify him in that second round. And Daniel was looking, marauding, mauling, looking like a tiger looking for the finish, as he said, like a gladiator. And you have to give him massive praise. I do feel he was a different character through the week. We didn't speak at all during the week because I was assigned to talk sport. I was very impressed with him. I wondered whether all his joviality was part of the nerves, but from Monday onwards, I was having a crack with him every day. Having
Same.
a
Yeah.
crack,
Yeah.
having a crack.
He was
And he really
relaxed all
impressed me.
week. Yeah.
I started to swing the other way to go, do you know what? He's actually enjoying this. And I had a little ruckus with, tiny little ruckus with Frank. Frank was going, no, I'm telling you, he's matured, he's changed. And I believe it. And he has changed. And he's changed in a fantastic way. Let me say this. I never called that young man a quitter when he lost to Joe Joyce. I've never called him a quitter. I don't like calling fighters quitters. And he is testimony to the fact that things can go wrong for you on one night and brilliantly later on, 4 or 5 fights later. We judge too quickly. You know, I say I give opinions, but I don't believe in judging too quickly. And
Many,
he's really
many,
proven it really
many
well.
ex-top professionals did though, didn't they? They labelled him a quitter
Well,
after
Frampton
the
and
fight.
Hay really critiqued him that night. Frampton and Hay went for him, and I don't like the Q word. Because fellow boxers can say that. I'm not going to say that. I don't get in the ring and I don't pit my body and soul. I put my body and soul into my work, and I'm genuine and I'm honest about what I feel. You know me. You know what I'm like. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate for all fighters, but I can't call a man a quitter, and it would be wrong to ever call Daniel Dubois a quitter. Look what he's achieved.
The run that Daniel's been on, as he only turned 27 a couple of weeks ago, the run he's been on since August 23, so we're talking 13 months.
Yeah,
Alexander Usyk in Poland, controversial fight. Gerald Miller beat him in Riyadh, beat Filip Hrgovic in Riyadh, and just beaten Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium. Quite incredible.
it is an incredible feat, and he belongs in fights. Rematch with Usyk, a fight with Tyson Fury, which we're going to have to press. If Fury, we'll come to it. Um, Joseph Parker, Zhilei Zhang, Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, they're all there for him. He doesn't need a rematch with Anthony Joshua either. And I don't think Anthony Joshua needs a rematch with him because his legacy, Anthony's legacy, will be in tatters if that happens at the same time. For me, and this is all I'm going to say on Joshua, because I'm going to answer this question right now, because you're going to ask what next for him. Yes, there's a Dillian White fight out there if he wants it. Yes, there's even a Deontay Wilder fight out there if he really wants it. Not for the mega bucks that he was earning, but wait for Tyson Fury and see what happens against Alexander Usyk, and then fight Tyson Fury. And then retire. That's what I think. But that's not what he's saying today. That's just what I think. There's 3 fights there for him. I don't think he should rematch Daniel Dubois. Too much went wrong. There's too many scars. I don't see him reversing the tide. Yes, he was brilliant in the 5th round when he fought back and he said to Ben Davis, I'm going to roll the dice. These are the moments we live for. But I agree with Eddie. Eddie said he was 30% of himself at that point. And I agree, but maybe even less. And he did hurt Daniel in that 5th round. The right hands tried the uppercut, but got caught because he exposed himself in terms of having a go at finishing Daniel Dubois. But for Daniel Dubois, just to finish, to Daniel Dubois, he sits at the top table in the heavyweight division right now. An incredible 13 months. I'd like to see him have a bit of time off, maybe 3 or 4 months off, but fight again. I don't want to see him fight on the December 21st card, but he might want to. You never know with him. He's so young and vibrant. He may want to, but I'd say February next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been four big fights in the space of
Yeah,
13 months. I think he will
yeah,
have a.
but look what he's done. Look what he's learnt. Look how much he's come on,
What
and
about
he's got the momentum.
Don Charles and Kieran Farrell? The job they've done for him, incredible.
Well, I bumped into Kieran outside a few hours before the fight. I didn't see Don all week. God knows where he was. Now I know he had a cold. I know there were all these rumours, but he
He
had
was
a
ill.
cold. And look, Daniel's very close to his father Stan, and I said on the broadcast on Saturday night, I'd like to have heard Daniel thank Don, but he will in his own way. And Don doesn't need that kind of he doesn't need that smoke blown up his backside either. But Kieran Farrell is a savant as well, and everything they wanted to do really worked. He didn't put a foot wrong.
Gareth, I went to see Frank today, and I was just having a think. And the 5v5, obviously that was 5-0. On the Wembley show, Kakachi beat Warrington, and then Dubois beat Joshua. Why do Frank's fighters keep beating Eddie's fighters, Gareth? What's going
Well,
on
he's
there?
got an extraordinary stable right now. I mean, I
But
think
Eddie's
he's
got a
got
good
six.
stable as well. But
No, but Frank's got the stable in the world, in my view. He's also got Hamza Shiraz, um, who looks like a massive pawn in Frank's game. Um, I think in the chess game, if you like,
he's
in
just
the middleweight
extended
division.
his deal with Frank today as well, Hamza.
Good. I just digressing on Hamza. If he goes really well at middleweight in the next two fights and does it quickly and moves up to super middle, which he will, I think he could be. I think it's the ninth Brit. He could be the ninth Brit to fight Canelo. I think that fight is very sellable. Do you not like that?
No, I'd love that fight. I'm just thinking from Canelo's perspective. Do you think that's realistic for him?
It is with the Saudis. I think Hamza Shiraz is a Saudi Arabian Riyadh season ambassador.
He is.
So,
But will Canelo play ball with the Saudis with Riyadh season?
well, it's a money game, isn't it? It's a business. So, I'd rather see Hamza Shiraz fight Canelo now than. I mean, I know Hamza's young in the game, but I mean, people think I'm stretching this out here, but a couple of victories over bigger names. And I think, he proved his mettle. He showed his minerals against his cojones against Amo Williams when he was hurt in the first and second rounds. I think it was the first and second out in the 5v5. But, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. It's a time when we can fantasize about, great fights and fights that could be made because there is investment in the sport and it's available at the moment. So just to go back to what you're saying, I think Frank's got 7 of the top 10 heavyweights in the world, hasn't he?
Tyson
Going
Fury,
down the list: Tyson Fury,
Daniel Dubois,
Daniel Dubois,
Joe
Joseph Parker,
Parker,
Zhilei Zhang,
yeah, Joseph,
Moses Tauma, um, Joe Joyce,
Derek Chisora.
Derek. Well, Derek says he's with Eddie, and
He's with Frank. I know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Joe Joyce. There's one other, I think.
Well, he's got David Adelaide and Sol Day because he's got a lot of British
Yeah,
heavyweight.
he's got a lot of heavyweights, and the heavyweight division is hot at the moment, of course, isn't it? So no, Frank's got. I think Frank's got the best stable, almost the best stable he's ever had. Did you ask that this today or
He
not?
was very, very humble about his answer. Didn't really answer it.
Did you ask him about the best stable he's ever had?
I essentially tried to get him to say that when
You
I asked,
forgot to ask him, didn't
I
you?
said, "Why do you keep beating Eddie Earns fighters?" And he didn't read. I said, "Is it the stable? Is it a matchmaking? Is it a way you progress fighters?" He was very humble about his answer. Yeah.
I love it because he's not humble when he's with Eddie, though, is he? He's putting the boot in. No, he deserves every success he has. Frankly, he does deserve all his success at the moment. I'm so delighted for him because this is a man who has been through everything in the sport and is a brilliant survivor and is a brilliant promoter and promotes people right from the bottom all the way through. And it was great to see the Conor McGregors of the world here last night. Tyson with Alexander, Terence Crawford. I know Devin Haney was slightly on the outside, but it was great to see him. They had a row with Eddie Hearn, didn't he, over
Yeah, I
something or
heard
other.
about that. Yeah.
But it was a great night. But Guy Ritchie there made the brilliant lead-in movie to it with all the zombies that Daniel said he didn't like lying in the bath for because zombie movies frighten him. You want to look in the mirror, Daniel. You're frightening. You are frightening. A lot of my friends who watched it on Saturday night, who don't come to the big events and work in the industry, watched it on TV, and they said, "God, Daniel Dubois, when he walked in and the way he was, really reminded me of Mike Tyson in the robe." And I said, "He's a lot bigger than Mike Tyson, believe me, a lot bigger." But he had shades of that about him, that might grow. By the way, that might grow.
Certainly. Just to close us off, Gareth, Anthony has come out today and released a video statement and said he will carry on. He wants to have a positive mindset and that this is not going to hold him back, this loss. Just thoughts on his comments?
Well, I've kind of answered it already in a way, Umar, and it's great to be on BoxNation and be part of BoxNation's ongoing program. And looking forward to being in the fight night with you soon. I think it's at your call on the 17th of October, isn't it? I think it is.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
Look, um,
If let me just phrase that differently. If he
yeah,
retired today, if he said that was enough, like I don't think anyone would complain. Like he's achieved so much.
no, he's left an amazing legacy. He carried the sport for a while. He's brought loads of new eyeballs to the sport. He is a crossover mainstream star. He's achieved so much. He's created generational wealth. He was brilliant winning super heavyweight gold, and what he did in the next, certainly till 2019, was extraordinary. And then the comeback against Andy Ruiz. But he's found it difficult at the very elite level of boxing with Usyk. He got caught badly by Andy Ruiz in their fight, but he was mauled last night. We haven't seen him beaten up like that before, and outgunned like that. If he walked away, there'd be no issue at all. I thought he's certainly a great gentleman on the night, handing it over to Daniel Dubois in the way that he was generous. He manned up extraordinarily well, and today's put out an even better message, as you say. I have seen it. I was on Talk Sport earlier on today before I flew, talking about it, and if he feels like that, that's up to him. But if he walked away right now, I'd be a little bit disappointed, because I'd still like to see him face Tyson Fury.
Okay. Gareth, I do appreciate your time all the way from Cyprus. I know you've just landed as well, so thank you
Yeah,
very much.
yeah,
And I'll see you when you're back from Cyprus in Saudi. I'll
yeah.
see you.
I'll
Best be
see
a
you a
bit.
little bit later in the week. I'll see you a little bit later. I just had a few little jobs to do over here, so I'll see you later in the week.
Okay, mate. No problem. Thank you.